Hi guys, it's Mrs. Lencioni again, and this time I'm going to walk you through our next reading strategy that we call perspective taking notes. So what you can see here is there's really three different perspectives we're looking for. The first is, what is a conservative perspective? So what do conservative people think about the issues raised in the article? What's a liberal perspective? And then most importantly here, down here, is what is your perspective? So after reading the article, what do you think about the topics that have been introduced? All right, now what I am going to assume is that your teacher is not going to give you this reading strategy until you're done with at least most of the first unit, so that you understand liberal, conservative, and what those labels mean and represent. Okay, we're going to jump right into the article here. So over here. We're using the same example article, The Dilemma Over Opening Schools. And I will say about this article, this one's not really overtly political like some articles that you'll come across. So if you were going to read about an article about, let's say, abortion or gun control, people fall into very liberal and conservative camps on those issues. Reopening schools is a hot button issue right now. You'll see liberals kind of all across the board on it, conservatives all across the board, generally speaking. But I'm going to give you some clues of when you get a liberal conservative perspective, when you're looking for that, what to look for. So start with what you know. Think about what you know about those labels and what it tends to represent to begin with. Something I bet you do know: Donald Trump is a Republican. He's representing a conservative point of view, and he's throughout this article. So what he has to say about reopening schools, you can put in the conservative camp. The people who then oppose him and think very differently, you could put in the conservative camp. So that's one way, is to start with people that you know. Okay. Another way is to start with news organizations. And the Week is really good about this. They take their news organizations, they make them in bold. I've highlighted them on here just so I can see them easily. So we've got things like the Wall Street Journal, CNN, the New York Times. When there are larger organizations like that, things that you say, I've heard of that before, right? You may have heard of the New York Times, but don't know anything about it, or if it's rather conservative or rather liberal. So what you can do is, here's my little secret trick. You go to allsides.com. So this is a pretty cool website. At the top of the website, what I do is I click on the media bias tab. And when you scroll down, you can see this chart that's got major news organizations. And you can see, are they to the left? That's liberal. Are they to the right? That's more conservative. Are they in the center? Okay. Another way to do that is, when you scroll down, there's a little box down here. You could type in a news organization. So here I've typed in Wall Street Journal, and down below it shows me what that kind of represents, which is more the conservative point of view. On the other hand, if I were to type in CNN, you're going to see, when I scroll down here, the more liberal, that represents a more liberal point of view. So then when you're reading this article, that gives you a little bit of perspective as far as CNN. Here's some liberal, a more liberal point of view they're likely to show here. Whereas when you're, looking at the Wall Street Journal, you're probably going to be reading something more conservative. And the Week we like to use because it really does give you a balanced point of view. They take the news from the week before, they regurgitate it, and they make sure that they're giving you the liberal and the conservative point of view. So what you're going to do is read this over, okay, and try to use those clues to pull out what is the conservative point of view. Fill out your graphic organizer. Same thing with liberal. And then just think to yourself, what do you think on this issue? Should we be reopening schools right now? Why or why not? Okay. And when you fill this out, give as much detail as you can. It's going to fit in one box. So we're not writing a novel, but you don't want necessarily a sentence either. Okay. Be thorough. And then you can compare your work to something that I've put together, and we'll include in the links. All right. Have at it.